His companion asks if this means the game rewards killing. The hero admits the idea sounds insane, and he isn't sure. The story begins with our young man and his friend walking, with their suitcases through the city, while talking about what they will do on vacation. Our boy then responds that he can't be a professional anymore, and that maybe he'll open a karate dojo or something like that. With that, his partner reminds him that to open a business like that, he will need a lot of money to start. But at that moment, our protagonist friend sees a store and runs over excitedly because the breads he likes are on sale. Then a taxi stops in front of them, and our protagonist tells his friend to hurry up and not miss the trip. Suddenly, our boy's expression changes because he feels that something strange is about to happen there. No sooner said than done. Two men suddenly appear and put a bag over our young man's head without giving him time to react. Scared, his friend just watches as the men force him into the car, telling him not to move. The boy then screams desperately at the men, asking what the hell they think they're doing to his friend. But it's useless because the car accelerates and drives away at high speed, leaving the extra alone on the street. Inside the vehicle, our protagonist remains immobilized between the two brutes, unable to do anything. Our young man then asks in a calm voice who they are to be doing that to him. One of the men then takes the bag off his head, and with a smile on his face tells our boy to see for himself. With wide eyes, he recognizes the driver and wonders why on earth that person is there. The driver then takes off his glasses and with a mocking smile says that it has been a long time since he saw him. Our protagonist's mind then flashes back to a difficult time in his life that he would rather have forgotten. In this memory, he is surrounded by reporters who accuse him of using illegal substances during a tournament. This whole situation was caused by the man who now drives the car and ruined his career as a fighter. His dojo rival walks past him with a victorious smile on his face, knowing his plan had worked. But in a fit of rage, our young man couldn't contain himself and went after him with everything he had. Fallen to the ground, the rival hears our protagonist say that he was the one who planted the drugs and that he would face the consequences. Our boy then takes a wooden sword and raises it ready to end everything once and for all. Returning to the present, the driver blames him, saying he lost the championship because our protagonist broke his leg. After a few minutes, the car finally stops in an alley away from the city, and the driver turns off the car. Looking in the rearview mirror, the old rival tells his henchman to take good care of our young man with a smile. With that, the four of them get out of the vehicle and take it to the bottom of a dark, dead-end alley. Our boy then turns to them and with a challenging look asks if they really want to try their luck. One of the henchmen complains that he always stole all the glory in the tournaments, and because of him their leader gave up. The former rival then yells at them to stop whining, and the two advance on our protagonist. But our young man is not intimidated and enters his combat stance, ready for the fight that is to come. The first henchman advances with a punch, but our protagonist is much faster than him and dodges easily. Without wasting time, our young man counterattacks and lands a direct blow to the other attacker's chin. In a matter of seconds, the two brutes are already lying on the ground, completely defeated. Seeing this, the old rival becomes furious and pulls out a knife to attack while his friend comes running. The extra then screams in despair, warning that the police are already on their way to try to stop the fight. But the enemy doesn't care and goes after our boy, who blocks the attack with ease. With a smile on his face, our protagonist says it wasn't bad at all, even though he had a small cut on his cheek. At this point, he tightly holds his opponent's wrist, preventing him from moving. With a quick movement, our young man disarms him, and the knife flies through the air before falling to the ground. Before his enemy could react, our boy picks up the knife from the ground and holds it tightly. He then turns and with a quick and precise movement swings the blade towards his former rival. The knife grazes the opponent's face and remains embedded in the wall right next to his head. Completely terrified, the rival falls to the ground, unable to believe what just happened. Our protagonist then warns him that next time it won't just be his leg that gets hurt. Soon after, a police car arrives at the scene with sirens on to resolve the situation. His friend says that if he had been in top form 2 years ago, the World Championship wouldn't have been just a dream. Our boy then remembers a happy time with his parents after winning a championship. But now everything has changed. His partner tries to cheer him up by saying that at least now he can spend more time with his family. After the confusion, the two friends walk together down the street, while our protagonist drinks his drink. At that moment, the extra calls his mother to tell her that he is with Shugo and will soon return home. While being taken away by the police, the old rival provokes our young man by asking if he knows why they didn't go to his house. Worried, our boy asks directly if he did something to his family. The villain starts laughing maniacally and tells our protagonist to go home to see for himself. Seeing his friend's condition, the boy calls him by name, but our young man is in shock. The words about his family echo in our boy's mind, and his eyes widen in pure panic. Without thinking twice, our protagonist starts running desperately, leaving his friend behind. The glass he was holding falls to the floor and breaks, spilling the drink everywhere. He runs as fast as he can towards his house, while screaming desperately for his parents. Upon arriving, he finds the house dark and empty, with everything out of place in a big mess. The villain's words come back to him, and our young man finally understands what happened to his family. Confused, he wonders who is there and turns to the door calling for his sister. At that moment, a woman with white hair like his appears at the entrance of his house. The girl then runs and hugs him tightly, saying that he was late and that she needed him. She explains that their mother was in a serious car accident and that she didn't know what to do. Desperately, he holds her hand and asks which hospital her mother is in and if her father went with her. His sister stops for a moment and in a sad voice begins to talk about their father. She then reveals the shocking news that their father passed away the previous year. Our young man's mind then goes back to the past, remembering the last time he saw his father alive. The memory is of his father handing him a suitcase at the train station just before his departure. Our young protagonist smiles and says it's almost time to go get his father's luggage. The father then, with a smile, reassures him, asking him not to worry and just do his best. Our boy agrees with a smile and promises that he will keep in touch with them regularly. Little did he know that this promise would never be fulfilled as he entered a secret unit. Because of the intense training, all contact with the outside world was strictly prohibited. And it was during this period that his father passed away, and he was never able to see him or say goodbye to him again. Back in the present, our young man looks at a photo of his father with a look full of sadness and regret. He then falls to his knees, regretting not having come home sooner so he could see him one last time. His sister then approaches with a glass of water and comforts him, telling him to drink it and go see his mother. With that, our boy gets up and pats her on the head, agreeing that they need to go to the hospital. Arriving there, the two brothers find their mother lying in a hospital bed connected to several machines. At that moment, a nurse comes in and tells you that the medical bill is overdue and needs to be paid to continue treatment. The young woman then takes a bag that was with her and prepares to hand it to the nurse. But before she could do anything, our protagonist stops her and holds the bag tightly. He then questions her, wanting to know what is going on and what she was about to do. Our boy then opens the bag and is shocked to see that it is full of money and asks where it came from. With tears in her eyes, the sister explains that this is the money for college and that she could not abandon her mother. She says that now that he's back, what matters is that they're together and that things will be okay. Our protagonist then hugs her and tells her that she is right because he is back and will not let her drop out of school. He then holds her hand with a smile and says that now they will pay the hospital bill together. With that resolved, the two brothers walk together to the payment counter to settle their accounts. A nurse approaches and asks if they are the family of the patient in room 22 because the doctor wants to speak with them. With that, the two brothers enter the doctor's office, to hear what he has to say about their mother's condition. The healthcare professional then turns to them and with a serious expression asks them both to sit down. He explains that the situation is serious because her spine is broken and she needs immediate surgery. The doctor warns that there is a high chance of complications and the treatment with rehabilitation will be very expensive. Our young man listens to everything carefully and with a determined look, already thinking about what he needs to do to save her. Outside the hospital, the brothers sit in silence, processing the bad news they just received. His sister then says that there is no other way and that she will have to start working to help, but our protagonist comforts her and tells her to leave the bills to him and just focus on her studies. The young woman thanks him emotionally, and he hugs her saying that now it's time for them to go home and get some rest. After leaving his sister safe, our boy walks alone through the streets thinking about how to get money fast. Suddenly, he has an idea and picks up his cell phone thinking that maybe a certain person can help him with this. He then calls his friend who answers quickly and asks what is going on for him to call. Our young man explains that he is having problems at home and needs a way to make money quickly, and his friend agrees to help. Seconds later, he receives a message with a link to something called Mundo Mellow, leaving our protagonist curious. On our protagonist's cell phone, an ad shows an eccentric-looking man talking about a total immersion game that takes players to the future. In this commercial, the presenter shows a futuristic capsule and says that with it you can build your own world and play even while you sleep. He also talks about the various bonuses and the 2 billion yen prize for first place, saying that becoming a billionaire is no longer a dream. Our protagonist sees that it is a game to make real money and with a determined look decides that he needs to take advantage of this chance. But then he yells at his friend on the phone, thinking it's all an obvious scam, and asks who would fall for such a lie. The guy on the other end of the line says it's not a lie and that the game has been around for a while with people making billions from it. He goes on to explain that some say the game was created by a billionaire who was bored and wanted to have some fun. With that, the friend says that everyone thought the game would be useless, but it exploded in popularity because it was very realistic and immersive. Furthermore, the missions give real money, so the news about the game spread very quickly among all the players. He assures that it is all true and that the fact of fighting with his own body is already a huge advantage for those who have combat experience. Our young man then says that it is worth trying, but the capsule costs 600,000 yen, and he would still need to find money to buy it. His teammate is desperate because he also plays and knows he wouldn't have the slightest chance against our prota if he entered the game. Then, the friend proposes to pay for the capsule if our young man helps him in the game, and he accepts the deal immediately, without thinking twice. A while later, we see our boy's house as he asks some delivery men to put the package in his room. With that, his sister asks what that is, and our protagonist replies that it is an experiment to try to pay their mother's medical bills. Peeking through the door, our protagonist warns his sister not to even think about interrupting him, and she agrees, finding it all very strange. Lying in the capsule, our young man hopes that his friend Kentaro was telling the truth about the game. With his eyes closed, he finally connects to the game and his mind is transported to the virtual world. A screen with codes appears and your player data begins to be installed into the game system. Immediately after, a countdown begins and the system wishes you a good journey through the virtual world. When he opens his eyes, our boy finds himself alone in the middle of a completely destroyed and deserted city. He then touches a rock and is amazed at how real and solid it feels to the touch. With that, our young man begins to stretch, thinking about how his combat skills can be useful there. Our protagonist then tests his moves with a high kick that breaks a piece of wood with ease. His strikes are quick and precise, showing that his real-world skill has transferred to the game. Looking at his hands, he feels that the body is almost identical and that there is a dormant power, so he decides to check his other attributes. With that in mind, our boy shouts, calling for the system to see his character information. Suddenly, a small fairy-like creature appears floating right next to your face. The little creature then introduces itself, saying that it is the spirit of the system and welcomes the player. She explains that the game imitates reality, and because it has no abilities, its attacks are only short and long range. With that, the little creature begins to explain the game world on a holographic screen. She says that humanity has reached its limit of development and a great war has begun. In this war, missiles were used and animals exposed to radiation began to mutate. In addition to becoming stronger, the creatures became aggressive and humans began to lose their homes. But the surviving humans also changed, gaining strength and speed in addition to a power called magic. The new humanity then decided to reconquer Earth, and its mission is to defeat the creatures and explore ruins. The little fairy then winks and says that he too must create his own civilization from scratch. Finally, she warns him that this is an open-world game, and he can explore as he wishes. Our boy then questions if that's all it is, and that he basically just needs to wander around aimlessly. Plus, he wonders how he's going to make money without a main quest, since he can't use magic. Suddenly, our young man feels something strange, and when he looks up, he sees the shadow of a giant bird. Without wasting time, the giant creature dives at high speed towards our protagonist. He dodges the attack and complains that a post-apocalyptic game wouldn't be easy from the start. Our protagonist then enters his combat pose and says he will show the power of Japan's #1 player. With that, the giant bird descends from the skies with its sharp claws, ready for the final attack. With a confident smile, our young man advances, shouting, ready to face the enormous creature. But in a surprising move, he jumps and manages to land perfectly on the back of the giant bird. Holding tightly to the feathers, he thinks that he would never be able to tame a hawk like that in the real world. The creature then takes flight at high speed, climbing higher and higher into the sky to get rid of him. Our protagonist realizes that the bird is trying to shoot him down, flying above the clouds with a smile on his face. Then he tightens his grip even more and sees it as a true test of endurance. The bird starts to do risky maneuvers in the air, but our boy remains firmly on its back. Desperate, the creature dives headfirst towards the ground, causing a huge impact. After the dust settles, we see the bird fallen in a crater, with our young man still riding it. He then declares his victory and realizes that he felt a strange power that was not his during the fight. Our boy then remembers that defeating a monster gains experience and decides to test this mechanic. He pets the bird and wonders if it recognized him as stronger, deciding to name it Kuro. With that, our young man gets off the creature and steps firmly onto the rocky ground, ready for his journey. Kuro now stands up and stands beside his new master with his wings spread out, showing his size. The creature's expression is one of surprise and confusion, but it seems to have accepted its new name and owner. Suddenly, he hears a squawk and sees some feathers falling from the sky, looking confused by the situation. At that moment, a giant cat appears in front of him with a bird in its mouth, leaving our boy in shock. Our young man then realizes that there is no time to rest, and that turning his back on that creature would be fatal. The giant feline roars at him, and our protagonist is startled by the deafening noise of the enormous creature. With that, the cat's paw comes down towards you with its sharp claws ready to attack. But to his surprise, the feline's paw hits the belly of another, even larger creature that appeared out of nowhere. A giant koala with a medal around its neck appears, and it says it is exclusive to Gendo Shugo. Our boy is confused by the word exclusive written on the medal, finding it all very exaggerated. He then turns and faces the giant koala, who is watching him with his red eyes glowing brightly. Without warning, the monster attacks him with a powerful blow, trying to crush him with all its strength. Our protagonist barely manages to dodge, and the koala's punch opens a crater in the ground where he was. Surprised by the movement, he wonders if what the monster just used was a taekwondo move. The koala doesn't stop and continues attacking with an open hand strike, but our young man manages to dodge it again. The creature then tries to hit him with a sweep, forcing our boy to retreat to avoid being hit. with that he ends up cornered against a tree and realizes that he is in a very complicated situation. The koala then uses an axe kick with all his strength, but our young man manages to dodge it by a hair's breadth. He thinks he knows all the moves, but his opponent is bigger and faster, so he doesn't know how to win. Without giving him time to think, the monster jumps into the air and prepares a powerful tornado kick. Our boy narrowly manages to dodge it, but the creature's foot grazes him. The koala then lands hard, and the impact of the kick destroys the ground around it. Our protagonist then realizes that the debris on the ground is coming towards him and prepares for the worst. With that, he is hit head-on and flies through the air before falling to the ground completely defeated. Falling down, he wonders if he's going to die, but remembers that he needs to help his mother and his sister Cade. With eyes filled with new determination, our young man refuses to give up the fight. Suddenly, he finds himself in a completely dark place and wonders where he is at that moment. Our boy then looks at his glowing hand and becomes even more confused by the situation. At that moment, a pillar of light descends from the sky and completely envelopes him while the koala just watches. Your body then begins to float, and your soul seems to separate from your physical body. With that, the pillar of light takes him high above the ruined city. He then looks shocked at his own body, floating lifelessly within the light without understanding what is happening. Your soul and body then separate and are carried away by the high-speed beam of light. Then the beam of light descends from the heavens and hits the ground with a strong impact on the city. With that, your body is now back on the ground, looking intact after what happened. His soul then looks at the body and wonders why he didn't disappear like in the other games. Suddenly, your spirit form is forcefully pulled back towards your physical body. With that, his spirit finally merges again with his body that was on the ground. His eyes then open in an instant with an expression of surprise and determination. Our young man then gets up and realizes that he is back to normal and with his senses sharper than before. He also tries a kick and notices that his leg strength also seems to have increased significantly. With this new strength, our boy now feels much more confident for the next fight. The giant koala then stares at him from afar with a menacing aura waiting for his next move. With a smile on his face, our protagonist says that the monster followed him and that now it's time for round 2. The creature then raises its arm in anger, preparing to attack with all its strength. But this time our young man manages to block the monster's powerful punch using both his arms. With a smile, he thinks that the monster has strength, but his technique is better, and that's why he can block it. He then decides to sacrifice one of his arms, so he can land the next blow first. With that, our boy advances into the monster's guard, aiming for its weak point. Without hesitation, our young man lands a powerful kick right on the giant creature's chin. The blow stuns the monster, but it is not enough, so our protagonist prepares for the next attack. Our boy then jumps into the air and prepares a heel kick with all his strength. The blow hits the koala's head with a devastating impact that cracks the ground. With that, the creature finally falls to its knees, completely stunned by the blow received. Our protagonist then realizes that the creature's weak point is its throat, and this is his chance. He advances and lands a direct blow on the giant monster's neck, taking advantage of the opening. With the final blow, the giant koala's body begins to disintegrate into dark particles. After the victory, our young man falls to his knees, exhausted as the dark energy dissipates. Suddenly, the system fairy appears and congratulates him because he leveled up and recovered his energy. The small creature then shoots a beam of light and makes a complete sweep of our protagonist's body. With that, a screen appears showing the new Soul Eater skill, and he becomes curious. With a determined smile, our boy decides to learn the new skill without thinking twice. Suddenly, a golden light appears in the sky, and our young man looks up, curious about what is happening. This same light then descends and completely envelopes our boy's body as he feels the power. With that, a status screen appears, and he sees his new abilities, feeling 10 times stronger. Our protagonist then tests his strength with a punch and realizes that his vitality has also increased a lot. To be sure of his new power, Our young man decides to test his strength on a large rock nearby. Without thinking twice, he lands a powerful kick that completely shatters the rock into pieces. Impressed, our boy looks at his own foot and wonders if it really is just a game. At that moment, he hears a strange noise and stops, suddenly, to try to identify where it came from. The system fairy then appears and tells him that he has received a message from one of his friends. A screen pops up showing his friend, who says he knew he was in the game, and asks if it looks real. Our protagonist agrees that it is too real and asks how his friend managed to find it there. The guy explains that the game uses players' real names, so it's easy to find people online. With this, our young man understands and asks what really matters, which is how to make money in the game. His friend then shows him a map and calls him to Survival Zone 102 to make money, but he warns him to be careful of the monsters on the way and says goodbye, hanging up the call. Our protagonist finds his friend's attitude strange and thinks he is hiding something important. Even so, he decides to go to the place and begins to walk through the destroyed landscape of the game. Meanwhile, we see 3 other players running desperately through a green area full of life. One of the boys hides near the river and watches the water carefully, waiting for something. With a smile on his face, he gets excited when he sees a fish in the water and prepares to catch it. But to your surprise, a giant, bizarre creature emerges from the water right in front of you. The monster then attacks the extra, who screams in terror, with nowhere to escape from the creature. Seeing the scene, the other 2 boys get scared and shout at him to run away from that mutant animal. However, it is too late, and the player is captured by several of the creature's tentacles. He tries to hold on to the edge, but is pulled forcefully into the middle of the river by the creature. Suddenly, the boy's body is enveloped by a light, and he disappears, being carried away. His teammates complain that the game is too difficult and that the deaths are too cruel. Elsewhere, a player is startled to see a hand coming out of the water, like a monster. But in reality, it was our protagonist coming out of the river, with one of the dead creatures on his shoulder. He then approaches the other player and asks if that is Survival Zone 102. The boy hides, scared, and our protagonist asks if he is afraid of the creature he is holding. He then shows off his physique, and the other players are shocked by our young man's confidence. Our boy explains that the creature is soft and that he just needs to use his muscles to defend himself from it. To prove his point, he crushes the creature's mouth with his bare hands without difficulty. With his eyes shining, the boy says that our protagonist will certainly be someone important in the game. Impressed, the extra offers to guide him to Survival Zone 102. Arriving there, they find a ruined building covered in plants, which is the survival zone. At the entrance, a woman with a whip is standing over other players, lying on the ground. She then whips the boys and warns them that the next time they disobey, they will be out. One of the men complains that the missions are boring, and the woman looks at him with contempt. The girl says she makes the rules, and if he doesn't like it, he can leave and try his luck with the monsters. Furious, the man punches a rock, showing all his frustration with the current situation. He then shouts that there is no way to defeat those freaks, and that he is tired of everything. But the woman just looks at him with disdain and says that this only happens because he is weak. She then points to the side and tells him to look, as some people are surviving the fights, and the person she points to is our protagonist, who walks with several monsters on his shoulder. With that, our young man throws the monsters on the ground and asks if that is the right place for the exchanges. With a smile, the woman says he's not bad at all for a newbie who just arrived. The girl offers him 100 experience and 10,000 coins, asking if he wants to continue taking on quests. Our boy is surprised that he can earn money so easily and asks what the next mission is. The girl explains that she needs to eliminate the king of the lake monsters so they can live in peace there. She then offers a large reward for the quest and gives him a sword as a down payment. Our protagonist picks up the sword, and it confirms that they also sell and forge weapons at that location. The girl then explains about the weapon ranks and that the coins reflect each person's contribution. But our boy holds the sword, without seeming to pay much attention to what she is saying. Seeing this, the woman gets angry, but he wonders if she is an AI because NPCs don't attack players. She then yells at him not to be compared to an AI, and tells him to go straight to the mission he accepted. With a threatening aura, she warns him that if he doesn't go, he will be the next target of her whip. The boy who guided him warns him to hurry, because Lady Charlotte is dangerous when she is angry. The extra then explains that some guys thought she was just an AI and ended up getting into a lot of trouble. The boy explains that they all got beaten up, and after that Charlotte gave them a very clear order. Suddenly the woman whips the boy right on the back, making him scream in pain in front of everyone. With this, the extra's body is surrounded by a light, and he is eliminated from the game in front of our protagonist. Our young man is shocked and wonders if an administrator can really eliminate a player with one blow. The girl then warns the others that if they speak of her again, their suffering will be worse than death. She then yells if she was clear, and all the scared players nod in panic. With that, the woman orders them all to go back to work, and the boys run away in fear of her. Our boy watches her walk away and finds it strange because her anger seems too human for an AI. Suddenly, he feels someone touch his shoulder, and his body reacts instinctively to the unexpected touch. In a quick movement, our protagonist immobilizes the person on the ground who screams in pain, saying it is him. Our young man then realizes that it is his friend Kentaro and apologizes, saying that it was pure reflex. The friend complains that he hits like a monster, and that he is only a rank 4 player in the game. With that, our boy realizes that he was invited with a plan and asks him to tell everything now. The boy then laughs and says that he can't hide anything from him, because our protagonist knows his life well. Finally, Kentaro reveals the truth and says he was sent by the government to investigate the game. Kentaro says he imagined our protagonist would feel something about the game that normal people don't. He explains that the virtual world is almost identical to reality, and that no similar technology has been created before. Furthermore, the game is a threat because it is not monitored, and therefore an investigation team was formed. With that, the friend reveals that he is the captain of the team, and our young man congratulates him on the promotion. Our protagonist smiles and says he already suspected something like this, then asks what he needs to do. The boy explains that for now he just needs to share any new information he finds in the game. Our boy then agrees and says goodbye, saying that he will now leave to do a mission. As soon as he turns around, an agent appears and tells him that one of them has just died in the real world. The newcomer explains that there were no external injuries, and Kentaro realizes the real danger of the game. The agent then asks if they should tell our protagonist, but the captain doesn't want to involve him too much. Kentaro then says that the more a person knows, the harder it is for them to come back. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a dog-like creature barks while hanging from a tree. The animal then swings over the river and dives into the water as if hunting something. Suddenly, several bizarre creatures with huge mouths jump out of the water at high speed. They then attack the animal with their tentacles and hold it tightly with no chance of escape. The canine creature then bites hard on one of the tentacles, trying to free itself from the grip. With this, the tentacles move in the water, and the animal manages to free itself momentarily. But soon after, the animal is thrown out of the water, looking completely surprised. At that moment, the real lake monster emerges from the water with its giant mouth open to attack. Hidden, our protagonist observes the scene and says that he has finally found his mission target. With sword in hand, he waits for the right moment to attack, thinking of getting a little closer. Suddenly, a mysterious attack hits the giant creature's head, taking everyone by surprise. The other tentacles thrash about in the water, confused by what just happened to their leader. Then several more quick attacks hit the smaller creatures, one by one, without missing. Our young man looks to the side in surprise and wonders if that was a rifle shot. He then looks to the top of a distant mountain, trying to find where the attack came from. Up above, a pink-haired girl calmly adjusts the sights of her sniper rifle. With the target in sight, The shooter shoots once more, and the bullet flies at high speed. The shot hits the giant monster's head, showing the girl's incredible precision. With that, the giant creature screams in pain and writhes in the water after being hit by the shot. The creature then dives back into the water to escape, and our young man watches the scene in surprise. With that, he becomes furious that someone has stolen his prey and shouts angrily at the situation. He realizes that the monsters have escaped, and that because they are smart, they can cause problems in the future. Our boy then looks at the mountain and wonders who interrupted him like that. At the top, the shooter complains that she was very close to finally defeating the king of the monsters, but she thinks the area is safe and decides to do some hunting so she can level up in the game. Suddenly, the girl feels something strange, and her eyes widen in surprise and confusion. The girl then sees a trail of dust and wonders if there is a giant monster nearby. It was actually our protagonist running around thinking he would be invincible with magic in the real world. He arrives at the mountain and says he ran a kilometer in 2 minutes, hoping the shooter would be there. Our young man jumps on a rock and with a smile says that this is how games should be. Without wasting any time, our boy starts climbing the mountain at high speed to reach the top. Seeing him approaching so quickly, the shooter is shocked and screams in disbelief. In an instant, our protagonist jumps and appears right above the girl's head, taking her by surprise. He then lands in front of her, and the startled girl asks who the hell he is. Our protagonist then smiles and asks if she is the shooter from before to confirm his suspicions. The girl is surprised by the sudden appearance, and her hand begins to glow with a digital energy. She then pulls out a pistol out of nowhere and warns him not to come any closer, while our young man is surprised. With his hands up, he tries to calm her down and says he just wanted to see who hit a target at 800 meters. But without meaning to, our young man steps on a dry branch on the ground and breaks it, making a loud noise. Frightened by the noise, the girl panics and starts shooting in all directions without aiming. The shots graze our protagonist, who is shocked by the girl's exaggerated reaction. He then wonders how she missed from so close, but managed to hit the monster from so far away. The shooter continues shooting non-stop and yells at him to stay away from her at all costs. Our boy realizes he has no other choice, and besides, he's going to need to immobilize her to solve this. In a quick movement, he advances and manages to disarm her, making the pistol fly through the air. With that, the girl falls to her knees, completely defenseless. While our young man stands in front of her with a smile, our protagonist puts his hand on his head and asks if now they can finally talk. But the girl gets embarrassed and calls him a pervert, asking what he thinks he's doing. Our boy gets embarrassed and says it's all a misunderstanding, asking her to at least listen. Our young man then puts his sword to her neck to make her listen to what he has to say. With a dark aura, he threatens her, and the girl agrees, frightened by the situation. 30 minutes later, the two are sitting and talking calmly about what happened. The girl then explains that she used the dog as bait to attract the monster, but our young man stole her prey. Our boy complains that now the monster has escaped and that she needs to take responsibility for it. The girl misunderstands the word responsibility, and our young man is embarrassed, shouting that it wasn't that. He then explains that he wants her help to defeat the beast and complains that she always gets everything wrong. The girl then asks if he wants to form a group, and our protagonist agrees with a smile. With that, our young man introduces himself as Jendo Shugo and says that his specialty is taekwondo. The girl also introduces herself as Himaka and says her skill is creating weapons. Then they shake hands. Our protagonist finds her honest and asks if the rifle she used before was made by herself. The young woman confirms with a smile and materializes the sniper rifle in her hands to show him. She says she trained shooting, and when she holds the gun, her personality changes completely, leaving our boy surprised. With a smile, he says he has found a great ally and suggests they come up with a plan together. The new plan is then revealed, and now our protagonist is hanging from the tree serving as the new bait. With that, the smaller monsters emerge from the water and swim towards our hanging protagonist. The creatures then thrash about in the water for a moment before diving back to the bottom. Suddenly, a large explosion of water happens right below him, indicating the arrival of something bigger. With an excited smile, our young man realizes that the plan worked, and the creature has finally appeared. In a flashback, he explains that the monster would attack him, and she would take care of the miners to attract the king. With a determined look, our boy says that if they work together, they will surely win. Back in the present, he frees himself from the rope that tied him to the tree so he can start fighting. Our protagonist then jumps towards the river, shouting that this time the monster will not escape them. But to his surprise, the king of the monsters emerges from the water with his giant mouth open to devour him. Shocked, he realizes that the creature is even bigger than the one they saw last time. With no time to react, our young man is caught by surprise and ends up being swallowed by the giant monster. The creature then closes its mouth and dives back into the water, taking our boy with it. From afar, Ayano is shocked and yells at him for being swallowed right at the beginning of the fight. But suddenly she notices something strange happening to the creature and is confused by the scene. The monster begins to writhe in the water in a bizarre way, and the girl realizes that something is wrong. Inside the creature's mouth, our young man holds its jaws tightly and says that he will not be swallowed so easily. But a smaller monster appears and attacks him by surprise, and he realizes that he will not be able to dodge in time. With that, our protagonist continues to hold the giant monster's mouth with all his strength to avoid being devoured. Meanwhile, the other creature approaches faster and faster, ready for the fatal attack. Suddenly, Ayana appears on a screen and worriedly tells him to run away because the animal was huge. Our boy then yells at her to shoot anyway, and the girl calls him crazy for suggesting that. He then uses his legs to keep the animal's mouth open and reassures it that he has a plan. With that, the giant creature emerges from the water with our young man still trapped in its mouth. Our protagonist then takes advantage of the monster's momentum to launch himself upwards with a jump. With a backflip, he manages to escape the creature's mouth as it passes beneath him. He then lands perfectly on the surface of the water, ready for the counterattack. With the sword in hand, our young man shouts to Ayana to shoot, because now is the right moment. Without wasting time, he runs over the water at high speed towards the giant monster. Our boy then jumps towards the creature with his sword raised and ready to strike. With that, he lands a sure blow and plunges the blade into the monster's back with everything he has. With that, the giant monster jumps out of the water with our young man still on his back, holding on tight. The creature then struggles in pain in the air, desperately trying to get rid of our protagonist by any means possible. Our boy seizes the moment and plunges the sword even deeper into the monster's back to immobilize it. With that, he uses all the weight of his body and the sword to guide the creature's fall back into the water. The monster then falls headlong into the lake, raising a huge wave with the impact of the violent fall. On the screen, Ayana appears and asks worriedly if they finally managed to defeat the giant creature. With a tired smile, our young man confirms that the mission was a success and that they won the fight. Sometime later, the two walk together through the forest, carrying the bodies of the monsters they defeated. Our protagonist then hurries the girl, but she seems embarrassed and asks him to go ahead alone. Seeing her clear difficulty, our young man sighs and says that there is no other way to solve this. He then takes the monster she was carrying and puts it on his shoulder, leaving the girl very surprised. Our boy explains that he is only helping so that they can return and report the mission faster. With her face completely red, the girl thanks him for his help, and he continues carrying the two monsters. He then says that there is no need to thank them because they fought together, and that was teamwork. The girl becomes even more embarrassed by the situation and tries to explain something, but ends up getting all mixed up. The girl then remembers that when she was in another group, she froze in fear when she saw a monster up close. Because of this, her former companions began to mock her and talk badly about her behind her back. The situation worsened when in another fight her hands shook so much that she accidentally hit an ally. With that, the girl was expelled from the group, and since then, she has always played alone in the virtual world. However, when she started hunting on her own, she realized that something different started to happen. She felt calmer in nature, and her hands stopped shaking, but she never thought about having a team again. Our protagonist then notices that she has stopped walking and turns to ask why she suddenly stopped. With a smile, he says they are a great team, because he fights up close and she attacks from afar. The girl then becomes worried and asks what will happen if she delays him during a battle. Our young man reassures her and says he will eliminate the monsters that approach her in combat. With a confident smile, our boy says that unlike the other team, he is much stronger. With that, he turns and tells them to go quickly before it gets dark to report the mission. The girl thinks he doesn't look strong, but for a moment, she felt he was the most trustworthy of all. With an excited scream, the girl then runs to catch up with him and continue their journey together. From afar, the woman with the whip observes everything and thinks that maybe not every newbie is really useless. When they arrive at the base, the administrator is shocked and asks if they have already defeated the creatures. Other players don't believe this, and one of them tells his friend not to even think about messing with them. Suddenly, a group of players appears and their leader looks at our protagonist with a mocking smile. With that, the group of 5 men surround our young man and his friend, giving them no chance to escape. Our boy then asks with a serious expression who they are while Ayana hides behind him. The leader of the group smiles and tells them to hand over King Mizaberu or else disappear forever. Our protagonist looks at the administrator, but she says that outside the safe zone, fights are not her problem. The enemy laughs and tells him to quickly hand over the reward because the administrator won't help at all. With an evil smile, the boy threatens that if they don't hand over the items, he will eliminate them from the game. But our young man is unfazed and asks how they are going to divide just 2 monsters between 5 people. With a greedy look, the leader reveals that he actually intends to keep everything for himself. Our boy then questions what makes him think his henchmen would hand over their share to him. The enemy makes a strange face and says it's simply because he's the richest among them all. He reveals that he hired the other guys as thieves to steal everything our young man and his friend own. Our protagonist then sighs and complains that no matter where he goes, it all comes down to money. The enemy starts laughing and says that they should give up as they are just pawns for his amusement. Our protagonist is irritated by the enemy's words and says he already knows exactly what he needs to do. With that, the situation becomes tense and our young man prepares to fight all the henchmen there. Our boy then picks up one of the dead monsters on the ground, leaving the henchman confused by his attitude. Spinning the monster's body, he uses it as a weapon and throws 2 of the henchmen away. The leader of the group is shocked and asks if our young man really intends to fight them all alone. But our protagonist ignores him and says that from what he said, now he just needs to finish them all off right there. In fear, the leader pushes one of his henchmen and offers a bonus if he can defeat our young man. The brute then boasts that he has been training in martial arts since he was 8 years old, and that he will crush him. But our young man is faster and hits the henchman's face squarely with the monster's body. With a single blow, the brute falls to the ground, and his soul leaves his body, leaving the leader in shock. Without wasting time, our boy turns and attacks the group leader with the monster's body. With the enemy on the ground, our young man snaps his fingers, and with a threatening look asks if his name is Morioka. The boy then despairs and begins to beg for forgiveness, but our protagonist tells him to let go of his leg. With a smile, our young man challenges him to repeat what he said before, and just thinking about it makes his blood boil. Suddenly, the enemy dissolves into shadows, but our protagonist steps on one of them to stop him. Our boy is then surprised to see that the boy managed to escape his attack anyway. He then realizes that the enemy's shadow is moving on its own and runs after it without hesitation. With a quick movement, our young man throws himself to the ground and manages to grab the fleeing shadow at the last second. With a smile, he grabs him by the hair and the enemy asks, in shock, how he discovered the trick. Our boy explains that he just guessed, that he used the shadows, and apparently he was right in his theory. With that, our young man prepares to settle the score, and the boy begs him to stop it. But our protagonist doesn't listen and lands a powerful hook that sends the enemy flying. The boy complains that the game is unfair and that there is no way to defeat our young man alone. His crying does no good as he continues to fall at high speed towards the ground. With that, the boy's body hits the water and disappears in a beam of light, being eliminated from the game. Our boy then wipes his hands and with a smile says that now everything is finally resolved. Back, the girl congratulates them and gives them the reward for the mission they successfully completed. She then says that they can take on new quests to hunt monsters or collect rare items in the region. Additionally, the girl informs that they have earned achievement points and unlocked the game store. Our young man then asks the administrator where so much money for the mission reward comes from. The girl then approaches and threatens him with her whip, telling him not to get involved where he is not wanted. She warns him that if he asks again, his life will become hell, and our protagonist agrees, scared. Walking through the forest, our boy thinks that that game is really very strange and different from the others. He comments that most games try to please players, but that one just threatened them all the time. With a smile, our young man tells them not to think about it too much and suggests that they add each other as friends in the game. With a blush on her face, the girl agrees excitedly with the idea of continuing to hunt together as a team. After a while, our protagonist finally disconnects and returns to the real world in his apartment. His eyes slowly open, and he still feels the effects of the virtual world's total immersion. Sitting in the capsule, he stretches and realizes that he is not tired even after hunting all night. When leaving the capsule, our boy sees his cell phone on the table and goes to check the notifications that arrive. When he picks up the device, he sees a message saying that 310,000 coins have been deposited into his account. He is shocked to see that the game money has gone into his real account and decides to go pay the hospital bills. In the dining room, he finds the table set with a meal his sister left for him before she left. Along with the food, he finds a note from his sister asking him to eat well and take care of his health. With a smile, our young man feels touched by the care and affection his sister showed him. Looking out the window, he promises that he will take care of everything so that she can focus only on her studies. Meanwhile, elsewhere we see a basket of dirty clothes, showing a little of someone else's routine. The scene then shows us Ayana taking a relaxing bath after a long day of games and hunting. With that, she leaves the bathroom wrapped in a towel while drying her long red hair. The girl then sits in her gaming chair ready to start another online gaming session. With a smile, she starts her live broadcast and greets her viewers with great excitement. On the computer screen, we see that she is playing a first-person shooter game with great skill. After an incredible play, she winks at the camera and gives a thumbs up to all her fans. With that, the broadcast chat is filled with compliments from her fans who find her beautiful and skillful. But behind the cameras, the girl sighs tiredly and seems exhausted from all that acting. She then says goodbye to her fans and ends the live without noticing a sinister shadow appearing behind her. Suddenly, a hand grabs the door to his room and opens it slowly, making a strange noise. Startled by the noise, the girl turns to the door and is confused by the unexpected situation. A strange man then appears in her room and with a bizarre smile calls her name in a frightening way. The girl screams in terror while the man tries to calm her down, telling her not to be afraid of him. With the bizarre smile, he explains that he is controlling the air, and that is why no one will hear her screams. The man then approaches and the girl asks, terrified, what he thinks he is doing there. He then makes a scary expression and asks if she really still doesn't understand the situation. With a dark aura, he says that she will understand everything when she is his girl, but the young woman screams for him to stay away. At that moment, her cell phone, which was on the table, starts ringing and interrupts the man. Ayana then answers and screams for help, but to her surprise, the voice of our protagonist responds that he is already on his way. The girl is surprised because she recognizes our young man's voice and confirms that it is him on the call. The intruder wonders how our boy got her phone number and becomes suspicious. Furious at hearing another man's voice, he hits the young woman and throws her to the ground with force. He then accuses her of seeing another guy, and her cell phone flies away on impact. With that, the girl falls to the ground completely stunned, while the man screams that she hurt his feelings. Her vision begins to darken, and the young woman realizes that she is about to lose consciousness. With a victorious smile, the man tears off his shirt and says that now she will finally be his forever. The scene then goes back 30 minutes and shows us the city to explain how it all began. Our young man walks through the city while a news report warns of an increase in cases of stalking. On his cell phone, he watches Ayana's live stream and realizes that she is the streamer his friend mentioned. With that, his eyes widen as he begins to piece together the situation in his mind. He then notices an ominous shadow behind her in the photo and wonders if she is the victim in the news. Worried, he thinks this is bad because Himikawa is fragile and decides to call Kentaro right away. His friend answers and our young man asks him to look up streamer Ayana Himikawa's number at the police station. The companion agrees to look and asks what is happening while typing on the computer. Our boy explains that there is a chance that a stalker broke into her house and asks for any information. He then calls the number he got and begs the girl to answer the phone as soon as possible. When she answers, he hears the cry for help and says he is going there right now to help. With a serious expression, our young man confirms that the voice is indeed hers and prepares to act. He then warns Kentaro about the danger and gives him the address so he can send help quickly. Without wasting time, our boy runs through the city streets, hoping he can get there in time. In such a hurry, our young man was almost run over by a taxi that was speeding down the street. The driver yells at him, but our protagonist notices that his speed and strength seem greater now. Our young man calculates that District H is 3 kilometers away and that he needs to pass through a building to get there. He then plots a straight route over the buildings and believes he can make it. With that, our boy focuses on the large building that serves as an obstacle in his path to rescue. He then decides to test whether the increase in his strength and speed is real or just his imagination. Without thinking twice, our protagonist jumps onto the roof of the taxi and uses it as momentum to climb. The driver is shocked and wonders if it's a movie recording as our young man climbs the building. Using all his new speed, our boy runs along the wall of the building at an absurd pace. With a powerful leap, he finally reaches the top and launches himself towards the other building successfully. Meanwhile, in the apartment, the intruder seems confused and lost in his strange thoughts. He then takes a piece of her clothing and smells it while she calls him disgusting and weird. The scene then shows us that the young woman is now tied up and completely helpless on the floor of her room. She then asks how he found her, and the man says he will answer everything she wants to know. The stalker explains that he saw the landscape through her window during a live stream and recognized the balcony. He then reveals that a god gave him the power to control objects and that they were chosen. With that, the man shows a shiny engagement ring and proposes to her in a bizarre way. He then insists that she be his wife and promises to give her everything she desires. But the girl rejects him immediately and screams that she doesn't like guys like him, leaving the man shocked. With that, the intruder's face darkens, and with red eyes he calls her a stupid woman. The stalker then steps forward and says he will use force to make her understand his burning passion. Suddenly, a powerful kick shatters the bedroom window, catching the man by surprise. With that, our young man enters through the window and with relief says that he managed to arrive just in time. Completely shocked, the intruder turns around and asks who the hell our boy thinks he is. He then becomes furious and yells that our protagonist had no right to interrupt his moment with Ayana. With a dark aura, the man uses his powers and says he will tie up our young man so he doesn't get in the way. Our boy then gets scared by the strange energy and wonders what the hell that power is. Seeing the scene, the girl screams desperately for our protagonist to be careful because the man controls objects. As a result, our young man's own clothes tighten and completely immobilize him in place. The stalker then boasts that it is useless as no one can come between him and his beloved Ayana. But our boy is unfazed and asks if the enemy really thinks something like this can stop him. With a cry of effort, our young man uses his strength and tears his clothes, freeing himself to everyone's shock. With that, our young man also breaks the ropes that held the girl, finally leaving her free. With a smile, he says that he is his partner Shugo, and that he came to save her while the girl thanks him emotionally. Furious, the stalker screams that he is unforgivable and wonders why everyone gets in his way. With that, he complains that he was almost making the young woman understand his feelings and levitates several knives. Our protagonist wonders what that power is, and the girl explains that the man said he got it from a god. He then protects her and tells the villain that it's nothing personal, but that he simply can't stand him. Those words hit the stalker hard, and he is shocked by our young man's rejection. Completely enraged, he screams that his feelings were played with, and that he is going to destroy the world. To protect himself, our protagonist pushes a cabinet in front of them, blocking the flying knives. Taking advantage of the gap, our young man advances with everything towards the enemy to end the fight. With a quick movement, our boy manages to grab the pursuer's wrist before he can react. With a smile, our young man says that he caught him, and that now he can no longer use his strange powers without giving him time to react. Our protagonist throws him to the ground and immobilizes him with an armbar. But to everyone's surprise, the man's finger begins to glow with the same purple energy as before. With that, one of the knives that fell on the ground levitates and flies at high speed towards our boy. Seeing the danger, the girl screams desperately for him to stop because our protagonist won't be able to dodge in time. Suddenly, a holographic figure of a woman with a sniper rifle appears behind Ayana. The two men are shocked by the sudden appearance and do not understand what is happening there. With that, the young woman herself materializes a rifle and points it towards the enemy to protect our boy. The pursuer then screams in pain as the knife he was controlling ends up being destroyed by a shot. Outside, several people see a burst of white light coming out of the apartment window. The crowd in the street looks up completely shocked and confused by the sudden explosion. On the ground, the invader is fallen, and our protagonist thinks he was almost hit by the attack too. With her body exhausted, the girl feels dizzy and looks like she's going to faint at any moment. Before she could fall to the ground, our young man holds her in his arms so she doesn't get hurt. The young woman then says it seems like a dream and asks if he doesn't remember, leaving our boy confused. Suddenly, Kentaro appears at the door with a smile and says it's him again, to everyone's surprise. Our protagonist then looks at him and asks what the hell is happening for him to have appeared there. The friend says they can't talk there and asks them both to accompany him to a safe place. With that, the scene shows us a secret base away from the city where Kentaro took them. Kentaro guides our young man and the girl through a white, futuristic corridor of a secret facility. With that, the three approach a large metal door at the end of the corridor, appearing to be their final destination. The friend then announces that they have arrived, and our protagonist asks what place that is while the girl looks surprised. They then enter a huge room filled with immersion pods, just like the one our boy used to play. Kentaro then offers our young man and his friend a glass of water so they can calm down. Our protagonist then asks him what that is, and his friend reveals that it is his special operations unit. With that, he points to the capsules and explains that everyone there is elite and that Ayana's ability came from the game. The friend reveals that they still don't know where Mundo Mello came from, and that's why they're investigating everything. He then shows a screen and explains that some abilities from the game are appearing in the real world, with 30 already identified. Kentaro says that some people go crazy with their powers, and that all the players have a strange material in their bodies. Our young man is shocked to hear that experts say this substance only appears in the bodies of players. The friend says that a transformation is coming, and that's why the task force was created, but our protagonist accuses him of dragging them into it. With a smile, he says that he knows the strength of our young man, and that even though he arrived late, he has already surpassed most. The companion says that his talent in combat is an advantage, and that whoever masters these powers will win. So our protagonist asks if he wants him to represent the country. The friend confirms that the government does not want to miss this opportunity, and our young man asks about his family's accounts. With a smile, Kentaro says that the government will cover everything, and even guarantee his sister's college education with the best mentor. Without thinking twice, our young man accepts the proposal and shakes his friend's hand to seal the deal. At that moment, the girl interrupts them and says that her status panel has changed, leaving our protagonist confused. Kentaro then looks at a screen and sees a 300% increase in her experience. He then confirms the increase, and the girl says she hasn't logged in since yesterday, finding it all very strange. The friend reasons that killing normal people wouldn't grant EXP. He says their data shows only killing awakened gives points. The hero notes there are few awakened right now. He adds that they only found out by chance, but everyone will know soon. His companion clenches his fist, disturbed. He wonders who is behind such a terrifying game, and for what reason. The hero puts a hand on his shoulder, saying there's no time for anger. He tells him they must investigate to stay ahead. His friend says he's tired and going back for a nap, but the white-haired youth stops him, having another plan in mind. He tells his friend to log in at 8 p.m. He will wait for him in Survival Zone 1 and 2, and his companion agrees to the plan. As the young man walks away, the pink-haired girl calls out. She tells him she hasn't even thanked him yet for his help. Her friend explains it's exactly why he left so quickly. Confused, the girl asks him to explain what he means. He says the hero believes people should live their own lives. For him, interfering when someone is unguarded feels like cruelty. He adds that the hero feels guilty for involving her, but the girl insists that he didn't drag her in. He actually saved her. Hearing this, her friend smiles. He offers to get her a new house since hers was destroyed and tells her not to hold back. Later that evening, inside an apartment building, a meal is being shared after a long day. The hero tells his sister, Cade, that their mom's treatment is covered. He warns her the world is changing and to study hard. He tells her to run first if anything dangerous happens. Worried by his serious tone, she asks if something is wrong. He gently reassures her that he can't say yet, but asks her to listen. She smiles and promises to follow his instructions. Relieved, the young man smiles back at her. He says her promise puts him at ease, knowing she will stay safe. He then announces he is going to sleep. He adds a light-hearted warning for her not to wake him up like she usually does. As he leaves, Cade watches him go with a pained expression. She feels like a burden and wishes she could help him more. They arrive at Survival Zone 1 or 2, a desolate place with overgrown ruins reaching towards a pillar of light in the sky. Standing amidst the destroyed city, the young man marvels at how realistic the virtual world feels every time he logs in. He knows this world isn't as simple as a game, as he looks over the ruins and the other players scattered in the distance. Just then, his two companions arrive, waving and calling out his name, Shugo, to get his attention. He apologizes for the wait and asks about the plan. He then states that they should go hunting since camp missions barely give any EXP. His friend points toward a nearby mountain. He suggests hunting the mutant beasts. They're to level up faster and explore more efficiently. The white-haired youth smiles and agrees with the plan, ready to set out on their hunt. The group makes their way towards the mountain, entering a dense forest with large, broken tree stumps scattered across the ground. As they walk, they come across fresh footprints in the dirt, marked with dark splatters of what looks like blood. His companion observes that someone has already hunted everything here. He wonders if anyone that's strong is even in Zone 1 under 2. Suddenly, a distant cry for help echoes through the forest, startling the three of them as they look up. The hero immediately decides they should go check it out, his friends following close behind with worried expressions. They draw closer to the sound, hearing a man screaming in absolute terror somewhere in the woods ahead. Peeking through the trees, they see a man in armor surrounded by 4 others who are clearly threatening him. The girl recognizes the victim as the person who attacked them before. She asks what to do, but Shugo suggests they observe first. One of the attackers violently strikes the man, telling him be quiet and hand over all his gear. The victim cries out that his gear is soul-linked and won't come off. He desperately offers real-world money for his freedom. The attacker scoffs at the offer, saying he enjoys seeing a rich kid begged. He then punches the man hard in the gut. The leader of the group says he has never heard of soul-linked gear. Another member suggests they just take it with the flesh. The bearded man thinks that sounds like a good idea, a cruel smile forming on his face. As the victim looks on in horror, the armed man raises his sword, preparing to strike the terrified victim as his companions watch with cruel smiles. The leader rallies the onlookers, asking if they want to see the rich kid, who looks down on them, finally get what he deserves. His followers cheer in agreement, shouting for him to do it, and tear the victim apart without any mercy. The man licks his blade with a twisted expression. He claims it is the will of the people, which cannot be ignored. With a final cry, he swings his sword down, intending to finish the helpless man tied to the log. But just as the blade is about to connect, a rope wraps around his arm, stopping the attack in its tracks. Surprised by the sudden intervention, the bandit leader glares into the forest, demanding to know who is there. Shugo and his 2 companions step out from the trees. He holds the rope, having stopped the sword with his whip. The man tied to the post recognizes them immediately, his face filled with a mix of shock and desperation. He begs them for help. Shugo calmly states that while killing is one thing, what they are doing is simply too cruel. The bandit leader tells him that killing is easy, but it is pointless if the equipment vanishes. He calls Shugo foolish for challenging the Gale bandits. He declares that the victim's gear won't be enough. He and his men will take their equipment as well. With a shout, the bandit leader orders his men to attack the trio, confident in their numbers. As the bandits rush forward, a dark shadow flashes past them with incredible speed, leaving them confused. Shugo's companion suddenly appears behind one of the men, grabbing him by the throat. He says he can handle them all by himself. He unleashes a powerful gust of wind, creating a whirlwind that sends the bandits flying into the air. As they are thrown around helplessly, the young man leaps forward, delivering a swift kick to his opponents. He lands perfectly after his attack, a confident smirk on his face as he clenches his fist in victory. But his celebration is cut short. The other players decide to coordinate, shouting that they will hold him down together. Before he can react, several people jump on him at once, grabbing his limbs and torso to overpower him. Shugo watches as his friend gets pummeled by the mob. He tells him to hang on, promising they will finish this quickly. The white-haired youth sighs, admitting he figured something like this might happen. His companion looks on, concerned for their friend. He tells the girl to wait for him, preparing to step in and end the fight himself with his own power. But she stops him, determined to handle the situation. She insists that she will be the one to fight this time. Stepping forward, she declares that even though she feels a bit off, she can prove her strength too. A powerful aura surrounds her as she activates her skill, weapon creation. A spirit armed with rifles appears above her. The attackers are completely shocked by the sudden display of power. They can't believe what they are seeing. With a determined shout, the young woman commands her summoned spirit to open fire on the enemies before them. A massive volley of energy blasts rains down on the bandits. In a panic, they realize they need to retreat immediately. The bandit leader shouts in anger, claiming they have powers too. He boasts about having enough strength to shatter boulders. He activates his skill meta muscle, and his body bulks up. He grows to an enormous size, radiating raw power. With a furious roar, the now giant man charges directly at the girl, ready to crush her with his enhanced strength. But just before his massive fist can land, a hand easily catches his wrist, stopping the powerful attack completely. Shugo holds him back effortlessly. He calmly tells the man that a huge guy picking on a girl is not very gentlemanly. He casually throws the large man to the ground. Then, he tells his freed friend that he can handle the rest. The bandit leader gets back on his feet, furious. He glares at the dark-haired youth, calling him a little punk. The muscular man rushes forward, screaming that he will grind his opponent into a paste for getting in his way. He throws a powerful punch with all his strength, aiming to end the fight with a single, devastating blow. To his utter disbelief, his punch stops just short of its target, blocked by an unseen force. The young man smirks, revealing his skill is reflection. It absorbs impact and sends it back with double the power. He unleashes the reflected attack, telling the bandit leader to enjoy his own punch as a blast of energy sends him flying. With the leader defeated, the rest of the gang panics and runs away. The young man gives a peace sign, the job done. Meanwhile, the man who was tied up easily breaks the vines binding his hands, freeing himself from the post. Shugo watches him, then tells him he's free to go. The man gratefully brushes the dust from his soul-linked armor. Overwhelmed with gratitude, he kneels and grabs Shugo's leg, promising to do whatever he says from now on. He insists that he is serious and offers to reveal the boss's location as a way of making it up to them. Shugo's friend is excited by the news, realizing this is a great opportunity for them to level up quickly. He says this is perfect, though Shugo notes how easily swayed the formerly arrogant man seems to be. Their new guide tells them they will get a huge amount of EXP for defeating the boss, but he worries his rank is too low. Shugo agrees to let him lead the way. The grateful man introduces himself as Hikaru Morioka, happy to meet them properly. Morioka leads the group of 4 along a narrow cliffside path, venturing deeper into the dangerous territory. Shugo's friend asks if the boss is really ahead. Morioka confirms it, saying there is a volcanic lake nearby. He explains the boss is always there watching himself. Even if he's not there today, he will be back tomorrow. Suddenly, Shugo senses movement and warns the group that someone is coming towards them from up ahead. They see a group of armored knights running along the same narrow cliff path in their direction. The leader of the knights sees the people they are chasing and declares that they can't keep up on foot. One of the knights spots the group on the path below and points them out to their captain, who smirks confidently. The captain orders his men to use their grappling hooks, certain that they can still catch their targets. The knights throw their hooks, which are attached to strange propeller-like devices that lift them into the air. Using this technology, they begin to fly down towards the cliff, their grappling claws ready to latch onto the rock. The armored knights rappel down the cliff face, wielding long spears as they close in on the group below. They use their spears to anchor themselves to the rock wall, creating makeshift platforms to stand on. The captain points at Morioka, demanding the group hand him over or face the same fate as their target. Morioka panics, grabbing his companion's arm. He insists he doesn't know the knights and urges them to flee. His friend feels something is off. He has never seen gear like the knights anywhere near the camp before. The knight captain smirks, wondering if his target found a strong player for protection. He adds that players are also fair game. He gives a chilling order to his men: kill them all and leave no one alive. The knights obey, swinging down on their ropes and aiming their pistols at the group on the path. The pink-haired girl quickly reacts, calling on her weapon creation skill to activate a shield for protection. A large golden energy shield materializes above them, deflecting the incoming bullets and saving them from the attack. Her companion yells in frustration, asking why they were ambushed and if the knights hold a grudge against them. Shugo asks the girl if she can create a weapon strong enough to take down their flying opponents. She replies that at her current rank, shields are the best she can do, unable to create powerful offensive weapons yet. The white-haired youth looks up at the knights swinging above them, a determined look on his face. He clenches his fists and tells her to craft him 2 long spears instead, ready to take matters into his own hands. A blue energy surrounds him as he prepares to fight, channeling his power for the coming battle. With spears in hand, he leaps from the cliff, using the same grappling hook technology as the knights to swing into the air. He flies towards one of the knights, delivering a powerful kick that sends the soldier reeling in surprise. Before the knight can recover, Shugo throws a spear, which another soldier barely manages to block with his own weapon. He deflects another incoming spear with a swift spin, then prepares to face 3 enemies at once. He stands alone on the cliff face, wielding his spears as more armored knights swing down to face him. One of the knights, seeing Shugo's skill, nervously tells him to stay back, clearly intimidated by his power. Shugo smirks, telling him it's too late as he vaults off the wall, launching himself toward the group of knights. In mid-air, he unleashes a flurry of attacks with his spears, knocking all the surrounding knights off their ropes. As he defeats them, he feels a surge of power and realizes he just ranked up by killing other players. After taking out the grunts, he uses a spear to anchor himself to the cliff wall once more, ready for the next fight. The captain, standing on his own spear platform, compliments Shugo on his skills, admitting he's not bad. The young man looks at him with a grin, holding his spear and casually asking if the captain is the boss. Before the captain can answer, Shugo leaps towards him, declaring he'll take care of him too while he's at it. He thrusts his spear forward, but the captain easily parries the attack with his own weapon. Using the momentum, Shugo spins and aims a kick at the captain's head, but the man is ready for it. The captain's hand glows with blue energy as he prepares to counter the incoming attack with a skill of his own. Their attacks collide in a burst of light and energy, the force of the impact pushing them both back. Shugo flinches, feeling a jolt of pain run through his body from the captain's counterattack. Landing back on his spear, he realizes the captain used electricity to shock him during the clash. The captain confirms this, explaining that his gloves can channel electricity, giving him an advantage in close combat. The white-haired youth acknowledges that the terrain worked in his opponent's favor, but something still feels strange to him. The captain notes that his movements are too skilled to be learned quickly, suggesting he's strong in the real world too. Shugo scoffs at the idea, asking if the captain is an idiot for thinking this virtual space is the real world. The captain reveals a shocking truth. He tells Shugo that he didn't see a resurrection light because they are not players. He calls them natives, leaving Shugo utterly shocked and confused by the unbelievable revelation. The captain confirms it, tired of talking. He charges forward with his electric fist, ready to end the fight. Shugo quickly dodges the attack, leaping over the captain to create some distance between them on the narrow spears. The knight captain taunts him for running away, asking why a supposedly fearless player would flee from death. Shugo calmly replies that he's just not feeling it today and will come back later to finish their fight. He jumps back towards the main path, leaving the captain behind. The knight mutters that his teammates died anyway. Watching the captain leave, Shugo wonders if these natives are NPCs or if they were truly born and raised in this world. Meanwhile, the rest of the group finally reaches the top of the mountain, arriving at a large, pristine lake. The girl sits down to rest, exhausted from the climb. Her friend asks if she is okay after the long journey. He then grabs Morioka and shakes him violently, demanding to know who the people who attacked them were. Shugo returns just in time to see the commotion, with Morioka desperately calling for his help. He calmly intervenes, telling his friend, Kantaro, that he has it all wrong and should let Morioka go. But Kantaro is furious, demanding answers. Shugo starts hitting Morioka, also insisting he explain what is going on. Under pressure, Morioka finally agrees to tell them everything if they just stop hitting him. The group stands at the edge of the lake, listening to his explanation as the water begins to churn violently. Suddenly, a massive pillar of water erupts from the center of the lake, shocking everyone with its sheer size and power. A huge lion-like beast with a serpentine tail emerges from the water, letting out a ferocious roar that echoes through the mountains. Morioka points at the creature in terror, confirming that it is the boss of the area they came to defeat. Shugo stabs his spears into the ground, telling Morioka he will let him go for now, as they have a bigger problem. With a determined look, he grabs his weapons, declaring that first, they are taking down that giant cat. The giant water beast looms over the group, letting out a deafening roar that shakes the very ground they stand on. Shugo quickly takes command, telling Kantaro to play defense while Hamikawa waits for the right moment to provide support. The girl creates a large shield with her weapon creation skill, while Kantaro prepares to use it for defense. Kanru takes the shield, ready to block any incoming attacks and protect the team from the massive boss. As the beast unleashes a powerful wave of water, he activates his reflection skill, creating a barrier to absorb the impact. Shugo uses the distraction to charge forward, dodging the powerful currents as he closes in on the giant monster. He leaps high into the air, aiming his spear at the beast's head, but the creature is unfazed by his attack. As he gets closer, he realizes he's completely exposed. He fears that he'll be wiped out if he makes a single mistake. Kantaro, watching from a distance, can't help but be impressed by his friend's reckless courage. He tells Hamikawa to catch the shield he is about to throw, preparing a risky maneuver to help his friend. Shugo lands perfectly on the shield as it flies through the air, using it as a makeshift surfboard to ride towards the boss. He glides across the water on the shield, approaching the massive beast at incredible speed, spears ready for the strike. With a powerful thrust, he drives both spears into the monster's head, causing the beast to cry out in pain. But the monster is far from defeated. It thrashes wildly, its massive tail whipping through the air. Shugo realizes the attack wasn't fatal. The beast is just too big, and they need to get closer to do real damage. Suddenly, he stops, his eyes widening in surprise as he senses a new, powerful presence nearby. He turns his head, sensing a familiar aura that he didn't expect to encounter in this place. A golden light envelopes Hamikawa as she summons a massive sniper rifle, much to Kantaro's shock. She remembers a past failure, a time when she was too afraid to take a shot, her fear holding her back. In that moment, she couldn't focus, the smallest sound throwing off her aim and preventing her from using her full potential. But in that moment, she realized she couldn't keep living in fear. Seeing someone protect her made her want to be strong too. Her eyes glow with a newfound determination. She declares that she can finally see her target clearly. She focuses on the beast's weak points, identifying the two most vulnerable spots on its massive body. With her target locked on, she takes a deep breath, her aim steady and her resolve unshakable. She fires a volley of powerful shots from her sniper rifle, each one hitting its mark with perfect accuracy. The beast roars in agony as the energy blast pierces its thick hide, causing massive damage. Mortally wounded, the giant creature thrashes in the water before finally collapsing, its body going still. Hamikawa falls to her knees, exhausted but relieved. She can't believe they actually managed to defeat the boss. Shugo gives her a thumbs up, praising her for the perfect shot. He tells her she was the right choice for long-range support. She looks up at him, a faint blush on her cheeks as she accepts his compliment, proud of what she accomplished. He's amazed by the sudden boost in his level. He just ranked up, and defeating the boss sent his rank soaring again. He realizes the amount of experience points he gained from the fight is completely off the charts. Morioka celebrates their victory, shouting that the S-class mission target is defeated. They'll get thousands of coins for its corpse. Kanaru is amazed, saying he never imagined they'd take down a boss. He feels that with this team, even epic gear isn't scary. Morioka walks over to the dead beast, a strange expression on his face as he looks at his hand. Kanaro asks him what he's doing. Morioka smiles and thanks everyone, saying he completed his mission too. Suddenly, red tendrils erupt from the boss's corpse, wrapping around Morioka's body. As he looks on in confusion, he screams in pain and confusion, asking why this is happening as the tendrils tighten their grip. A red, shadowy figure emerges from the beast's body, its energy flowing into Morioka, transforming him. The transformation completes, leaving him encased in a set of menacing, dark red armor, his original form gone. Kanaru stares in shock at the menacing red armor, wondering what it is and where it came from. The armored figure attacks with incredible speed, forcing Kantaru to leap back to dodge the powerful blow. The group watches in horror, their former guide now a terrifying enemy. Shugo wonders if he's lost his mind. Morioka struggles against the armor's control, apologizing as he's forced to attack. His last words are in order to kill them all. Shugo expresses his disappointment, saying Morioka called him brother, but never told him the truth about his mission. Kondoro questions everything. He asks if the knights and the boss were all part of Morioka's hidden agenda. Morioka denies it, but he can't explain the full situation, his body still under the armor's control. He cries out that he's at his limit, unable to resist the armor's influence any longer as he charges forward. A powerful shockwave erupts from his attack, forcing Shugo to grab Hamkawa and leap to safety. He holds her securely in his arms, landing a safe distance away from the now berserk Morioka. Himekawa asks what they should do. Shugo says he'll try probing deeper to understand the situation. Morioka, his eyes glowing red with rage, rushes towards Shugo, ready to strike him down with his enhanced power. Shugo easily blocks the punch, then counters with a swift kick to the man's chest, knocking him back. With a confident smirk, Shugo asks if Morioka has trained in martial arts, sensing a familiar fighting style. Morioka explains it's no use. He's being controlled by the entity within the armor, unable to fight back. Shugo knows that alone can't explain everything. He prepares for a more serious fight, ready to uncover the truth. He throws a punch, but the armored figure dodges effortlessly, showing incredible speed and reflexes. The young hero feels his bones ache from just blocking the powerful attacks. He realizes he's fighting a digitized body. He looks at the dark, armored figure, wondering how they can possibly bring down such a powerful and relentless foe. As Morioka charges again, Shugo prepares to meet him head-on, determined to find a way to break the armor's control. Kantara uses his shield to block Morioka's punch, the golden energy deflecting the powerful blow. Shugo shouts orders, telling Himekawa to shoot Morioka's chest with a shock bullet to stop his movement. Morioka, still struggling, tells them not to just talk and continues his relentless assault. Kanaro asks what he's talking about, confused by his cryptic words as he holds back the armored man. Morioka explains that the boss's power is too strong. If they don't use it all, his body will explode. Kantaro strains to hold the shield, sweat pouring down his face. He grits his teeth, knowing he's at his limit. The shield shatters under the immense pressure, sending both of them flying back from the force of the explosion. Shugo sees his chance and calls out to Himekawa, telling her to take the shot now while their enemy is distracted. She fires a powerful energy blast from her sniper rifle, the shot glowing as it speeds toward its target. The bullet hits Morioka square in the chest, the impact staggering him and momentarily halting his advance. Shugo tells her to keep firing, planning to deplete the armor's energy and free their friend from its control. Kantaro warns him about his injury, concerned that he's pushing himself too hard in his current state. Shugo dismisses his worries, saying that if they can revive after dying, the risk is worth taking. He unleashes a barrage of lightning-fast punches, striking multiple points on Morioka's armor to drain its power. He grabs the armored man from behind, holding him in place for the final, decisive attack. The three of them combine their powers, forming a massive, spinning wheel of energy around Morioka. Himekawa and Kantaro watch in awe as the flashy attack unfolds, amazed by its incredible power. The energy wheel crashes into the ground, causing a massive explosion that tears up the earth and sends debris flying. As the dust settles, they wonder if they finally managed to defeat him. Himekawa nervously says it's not over yet. A red wheel, reflecting their faces, spins out of the smoke, leaving them stunned and amazed by the unexpected sight. The red wheel shoots off into the distance, crashing into the mountainside with a massive impact. Shugo and Morioka are thrown to the ground by the force of the blast, exhausted but finally free. As the young man tries to sit up, a large boot steps down beside him, revealing a new figure has arrived. Kantaro helps him up, scolding him for the reckless move that endangered everyone, friend and foe alike. Himekawa nervously approaches Morioka, aiming her rifle at him, still wary of his sudden transformation. She demands he tell them the truth, threatening to shoot if he doesn't explain what just happened. He raises his hands in surrender, admitting he doesn't know where to start. He then says he will tell his side of the story first. A bright light suddenly appears, causing the three of them to stare in stunned silence at the unexpected phenomenon. An elf-like woman kneels in a pillar of light, her hands clasped as if in prayer, while another figure appears beside her. The woman stands, introducing herself as Yura, and thanking the group for saving her from her pursuers. Shugo, completely bewildered, asks if someone can please explain what is going on in this increasingly strange situation. The group sits down as Yura explains that the knights were after her because she possesses a power they greatly desire. She then reveals a small, glowing jewel, and Morioka is so captivated by its beauty that she has to snap him out of his daze. Yura tells them the knight's true target is the jewel, a powerful artifact that holds immense value. She explains that she is a native of this world, what players would call an NPC, an entity born within the game. Konoro is amazed that such an intelligent NPC could exist, remarking on how closely the game resembles reality. Yura clarifies that while they may be NPCs to the players, to themselves, they are living, breathing humans. Shugo asks what she means. She explains that players gain experience points by killing NPCs like her. She continues, revealing that natives like her also grow stronger by killing awakened beings and absorbing their fragments. In their world, society is divided between ordinary people and the awakened, who can use their powers as they please. Yura explains that originally, both groups developed the post-war world together in peace and harmony. But once the awakened realized they could gain power by killing each other, everything changed for the worse. It took a long time for the natives to grow strong enough to fight back, and then the players appeared. Kanaro asks if that's why the awakened are trying to kill players. Yura confirms they see players as innate awakened. Killing players grants them power, and since players can revive, they are an endless source of strength for the natives. After the players appeared, the warring awakened factions united to trap and exploit their immortality. Kanaro complains about being exploited in both the real world and the game, but Shugo has more questions. He asks Yura about the jewel, noting that not every awakened being they fought possessed one. She explains that she is special. Born with a weak body, her father created the jewel, which stabilized her health and awakened her. Shugo realizes the natives want to research her jewel, but he wonders why she is running away from them. Yura clenches her fists, revealing that they killed her father for the jewel, and now intend to kill her too. She explains that she also obtains power differently, by consuming the blood of the mighty, and asks for help avenging her father. In exchange, she offers to tell them a special secret, which immediately piques Shugo's interest. She reveals a prophecy under God's command. Everything in their world will be calmed in 7 days. Kandaru is confused, asking what this ominous prophecy means for them and their future in the game. Yura admits she doesn't know for sure, but her father's last letter said it's connected to the truth of the world. Kandaru wonders if it's a natural disaster, like an eruption or an earthquake, but the wording seems too grand for that. Shugo agrees, saying that connecting a simple disaster to the truth of the world seems like a stretch. He suggests it might be a ritual or a sacred ceremony, something with more significance than a random event. Yura says it's possible but can't be sure. With no more clues, Shugo concludes they can only speculate for now. Yura suddenly bows, asking for a bold favor. She knows it's a lot to ask, but it's the only way to find the truth. She begs them to attack their base and retrieve her father's research documents, which hold the key to everything. She explains her father was killed by people from the 7 great bases, and she's sure they are hiding something. She tells them her father discovered 7 major awakened bases in their world, each with its own territory. These bases are located in the forest, swamp valley, grasslands, and other diverse environments across the land. They also occupy the snowy mountains, rainforest, and desert, controlling all the major regions of their world. Yura reveals she belongs to the forest base, where her father had a secret lab that only she has the password to. But Shugo refuses, saying he can't help her with such a dangerous mission, much to his companion's surprise. He explains that the powerful enemies after her are too much for them to handle in a direct confrontation. Last time, they only managed to survive because the cliffs and their mobility gave them an advantage. He tells Yura that facing so many enemies at their own base is a suicide mission they can't afford to take. Morioka agrees, telling her to give up. They can't risk standing out and drawing more attention to themselves. But he then bows deeply, pleading with Shugo. He asks if he would help her if they could prepare a safe route. Yura looks at Morioka, her eyes filled with tears as she's touched by his selfless dedication. Hamikawa asks why he's going so far for her. He confesses that he has fallen for Yura and wants to do anything he can for her. He admits he's not strong, but he promises to make her happy if she stays with him, his resolve unwavering. Shugo promises that as long as he's alive, he won't let anyone hurt them, moved by Morioka's heartfelt plea. Kandaru, however, is more practical, asking what they should do since Yura is just an NPC after all. He then asks the group if they should go for it. Himikawa and Shugo both agree, having no objections. Shugo decides that if the boss is going this far, they have to follow through and see the mission to the end. Yura adds that there is legendary gear in the lab, promising to give it all to them if they help her. The mention of legendary gear changes everything. The group agrees there's no way they can turn down a mission that good. They decide to rest for the night and head out the next day, looking up at the beautiful, starry sky. That night, the group camps around a warm fire. Morioka and Yura sit together, while Kantara sleeps nearby. Shugo sits alone by the lake, gazing at the snow-capped mountains under the breathtaking celestial expanse. Himikawa finds him asking if the starlight is too bright. He admits that it is a bit. She tells him she knows he planned on helping Hikaru from the start, seeing through his earlier refusal. He smiles, explaining that Hikaru never lied, even when being beaten. He truly loves Yura, and that kind of commitment is rare. He adds that this is also a great chance to learn more about this world, and he bets Kandaro feels the same way. Hamikawa says she came to tell him not to push himself too hard, noticing he tends to carry everything on his own shoulders. She reminds him that he has teammates now, and maybe it's time he trusted them a little more. He wishes her a good night, and she returns the sentiment, leaving him alone with his thoughts. He ponders her words, a thoughtful expression on his face as he considers her advice about trusting his team. The next morning, Morioka leads them to a secret passage, hidden behind a large, movable rock. He proudly presents the entrance to the hidden path, telling them this is the way to the lab. Kantaro complains, asking why every path Morioka finds has to be so dangerous and hidden. Morioka explains his shadow skill allows him to blend into shadows, which has made him familiar with hidden trails. Kantaro remarks that it sounds like he's been through a lot on his own after his party ditched him. Morioka proudly boasts that he's the best at escaping, though the others are not sure that's something to brag about. With a determined grunt, he pushes the heavy rock, revealing the dark, hidden passage that lies beyond. He pushes with all his might, and the heavy rock finally gives way, revealing a dark passage beyond. Shugo peers into the narrow, dark crevice, a look of unease on his face as he considers the path ahead. He asks Morioka if he's sure this connects to the mountain base, not entirely convinced by the hidden entrance. Morioka explains that the forest base is at the foot of the mountain, and this secret passage is the only way in. Shugo warns him that he won't be forgiven if he's lying, but Morioka confidently reassures him. After a long walk through the dark tunnel, they finally arrive at a sturdy wooden door blocking their path. Just as they are about to proceed, they hear a strange noise coming from the other side of the door. Without a second thought, Shugo kicks the door down, smashing it to pieces with a single, powerful blow. On the other side, they find a bald, bespectacled man sitting on a toilet, casually reading a newspaper. Startled by the sudden intrusion, the man jumps to his feet, pulling up his pants and shouting about intruders. Morioka quickly covers the man's mouth, silencing him before he can alert anyone else to their presence. Another person from a nearby stall peeks out, alerted by the commotion from the unexpected break-in. She wonders if she heard someone shout just now, a confused and slightly embarrassed look on her face. Morioka knocks the man out, relieved that they weren't discovered. He notes that illegal entry and assault is bad. For now, he decides they need to figure out exactly where they are within the base's territory. Yura looks out a nearby window, seeing a village of wooden houses nestled in a lush, green forest. In the center of the village stands a massive, ancient tree, its branches reaching high into the sky. She points to a wooden tower built into the trunk of the giant tree, telling them her father's lab is inside. They can see guards patrolling the spiral staircase. that wins its way up the side of the towering tree. Shugo observes the heavy security, noting that it doesn't look like they'll be able to get in easily. Shugo suggests they wait until it's dark to make their move, as there are too many guards to handle in broad daylight. Under the cover of night, the guards patrol the spiral staircase, their rifles at the ready. Kanaro surprises a guard from above, hanging upside down to greet him before he can react. The guard is completely stunned, his mind struggling to process the bizarre and unexpected encounter. With a cheerful, "Good night," Kanaro knocks the guard out cold, taking him down without making a sound. He then casually calls out to the rest of the group to hurry up as they finish taking out the other guards. With the path cleared, the group runs up the spiral staircase, making their way towards the lab. As they ascend, they pass by strange, glowing red berries growing on thick vines that cling to the tree. Yura suddenly stops, realizing they've tripped an alarm. She warns them that guards will be on them any second. Shugo asks how much farther it is to the secret room. Yura tells him it's just ahead, urging him to hurry. A group of guards appears behind them, shouting for them to halt or they will open fire. Himakawa tells the others to go on ahead, volunteering to stay behind and hold off the approaching guards. The guards ignore her warning and open fire, unleashing a hail of bullets in her direction. She quickly summons a large iron shield with her weapon creation skill, blocking the incoming barrage. Shugo worries about her, but Yura reassures him, saying Himakawa has overcome her trauma and is incredibly strong now. He decides to trust her and keep moving, knowing they have to uncover the truth behind the game. Himakawa watches them go, a determined look on her face. She knows it's time to unleash her full power. She activates her ultimate skill, Valkyrie, summoning a powerful spirit armed with multiple guns. With her summoned spirit at her side, she opens fire, unleashing a devastating volley of attacks on the guards. A figure emerges from the smoke and dust, annoyed at having to handle the intruders himself after his men were defeated. The defeated guards cheer as their captain arrives, relieved to see their leader joining the fight. Himakawa is on guard, wondering who the mysterious, shadowy figure with glowing red eyes could be. Unfazed, she declares it doesn't matter who he is and opens fire with both of her pistols. But the figure moves with incredible speed, effortlessly dodging every single bullet she fires at him. She stares in disbelief, unable to comprehend how anyone could move that fast and dodge her attacks so easily. Before she can react, the shadowy figure appears in front of her, his hand closing around her throat. He holds her up by the neck, casually remarking that's one down, his red eyes glowing menacingly. Meanwhile, the rest of the group finally reaches their destination, a dark, enclosed room. They look around, realizing with a sinking feeling that they've run into a dead end with no apparent exit. Morioka panics, but Yura assures them this is the right place. Her voice calm and confident, she places her hand on the wall, and with a soft grunt, pushes it inward, revealing a hidden mechanism. A holographic keypad appears on the wall, and Morioka remarks on her father's genius for creating such a clever lock. Yura tells them to leave it to her, confident that she can open the secret door to her father's lab. But her first attempt fails. An alarm blares, warning of an incorrect password and initiating the defense program. Two large turrets emerge from the walls, their barrels aimed directly at the startled group. Morioka and Kantaro freeze in terror, certain they are about to be blown to pieces by the powerful guns. Shugo acts fast, leaping into the air and delivering a powerful kick that destroys both turrets in a single blow. He tells the others not to just stand there, urging them to figure out what's going on with the door. They are all confused by the sudden activation of the defenses, having no idea why the password didn't work. Yura asks for a little more time, determined to get the door open and complete their mission, but she fails again. The system announces that heavy defense mode is activating after 3 incorrect password entries. Even more turrets emerge from the walls, their barrels aimed menacingly at the trapped and terrified group. Shugo expertly deflects the turret fire, asking Yura if she's figured out the password yet. Yura falls to her knees in despair, admitting it's no use. She can't remember the password her father gave her. In her desperation, she presses her hand to the scanner, hoping for a miracle. The system recognizes her fingerprint. She's relieved and surprised that the fingerprint scan worked, a nervous smile on her face as the door opens. The group enters a long, dark corridor, finally inside the secret lab after a series of close calls. With his eyes glowing, Shugo says it's time to find out what kind of information her father left behind. They enter a large, brightly lit room, their eyes widening in shock at the sight before them. The room is filled with rare and powerful items, all displayed on pedestals like treasures in a museum. Kantaru imagines how much they'd be worth, but then realizes such powerful items could throw society into chaos. Morioka is amazed to see 3 pieces of unique gear, his eyes sparkling with excitement at the incredible find. Yura tells them all she needs are the documents her father left behind, gesturing towards a glowing box. She reaches for a strange, cat-eared helmet, a curious expression on her face as she examines the unique item. A bright light envelopes her as she touches the helmet, a powerful surge of energy flowing through her body. Morioka panics, asking if she's okay and if they should take her to a hospital after the sudden transformation. Shugo tells him to shut up, annoyed by his over-the-top reaction, and smacks him on the head. He asks Yura if she found anything. She holds up the glowing box, her body still radiating with newfound power. She explains the armor was left for her by her father, and it has caused her abilities to shoot up all at once. Now she can finally fight with her own strength. She also found the documents, which mention something about a god. Yura reads from the documents, explaining that the 7 main bases were originally formed naturally, but a god prophesied that immortal beings would appear, bringing both chaos and opportunity to their world. Around the same time, awakened individuals and mutated beasts began to appear, leading to widespread conflict. Then came another revelation from the god, a command to use every necessary means to kill the immortal ones. At first, no one paid much attention to the weak immortals, but their inability to die made others hesitant to fight them. However, those who ignored the divine message suffered a terrible fate, their bodies rotting away in a gruesome punishment. Kantaru questions the divine messages, noting that the god only threatens and never actually kills anyone. Shugo points out that even NPCs can kill players and granny XP, but the amount decreases as the enemy gets stronger. Kantaru realizes that if it becomes too hard to gain EXP in the game, players will start hunting in the real world. Morioka is confused, asking what he's even talking about as the conversation takes a dark and unexpected turn. Before they can continue, a group of armed guards and their leader enter the room, cornering them. The leader smirks, taunting them for not running away this time and calling them little rats. Yura recognizes him as Captain Rubik, shocked that he is still pursuing her even after her father's death. He calls her and her father traitors to the forest base, saying they deserve death for hiding the documents. Shugo interrupts, reminding Rubik that this isn't their first meeting and that players can revive. He tries to negotiate, suggesting there's no need to fight so hard and offering to owe them a favor if they're let go. But Rubik isn't interested in deals. He tells them not to get cocky, as they were planning to kill them anyway. His eyes glow with malice as he licks his lips, eager to rank up by killing such a strong player. Shugo sighs, realizing there's no room for negotiation and that a fight is unavoidable. With a final command, Rubik orders his men to get him, and they all open fire on the group. Kantaru and Morioka create a powerful energy shield, protecting the group from the hail of bullets. Shugo, with his newly ranked up senses, can now clearly see the bullets, but the rapid fire is still too much to dodge completely. He knows that to get Yura out safely, he has to take down the leader, Rubik, first. With a determined look, he charges forward, his fists clenched as he rushes towards his target. Rubik smirks, ready to face the young player head-on, confident in his own strength and abilities. Their fists collide in a powerful clash, the force of the impact creating a ripple in the air between them. Rubik reveals a hidden blade on his gauntlet, catching Shugo's punch and digging into his arm. The young hero cries out in pain as the sharp blade cuts deep, blood splattering from the wound, but he grits his teeth, knowing that Yura will die if he doesn't hold on and win this fight. He pushes through the pain and continues his attack, surprising Rubik with his incredible resilience. He lands a powerful kick to Rubik's side, sending him staggering back into his own men. The force of the blow is so strong that it sends the captain crashing into one of his guards. Shugo's eyes widen in surprise as he sees something unexpected in the chaos of the fight. Hamikawa is trapped inside a large, glowing blue tube, her body suspended in the liquid within. Shugo demands to know what Rubik is trying to do, his voice filled with a mix of anger and concern. Rubik grins, explaining that while they can't kill immortals, they can restrain them, preventing them from respawning. Kantaro realizes with a grim expression that if this is true, they've just lost their only advantage in this fight. Rubik, seeing that they've taken some damage, offers a truce, suggesting they both back off for now. He then offers a deal, hand over the traitor girl, Yura, and he will let the rest of them go free. But Shugo refuses, declaring that he can't abandon a comrade like that. Much to Morioka's admiration, Rubik scoffs at his decision, calling it a shame. He tells Shugo he's not as smart as he initially thought. He orders his men to take them out, and they once again open fire on the outnumbered group. Shugo is hit by a bullet, crying out in pain as the force of the impact sends him stumbling back. Rubik laughs, disappointed by the lack of a real challenge. He calls the fight lame and uninteresting. He then turns his attention to Yura, ordering his men to shoot the traitor girl dead on the spot. Kantaro and Morioka quickly form another energy shield, protecting Yura from the incoming bullets. But the constant barrage is too much for Kantaro. He grits his teeth, knowing he can't hold the shield for much longer. The shield shatters, sending him flying back as shards of energy rain down around him and his friends. Morioka panics, believing it's all over for them, now that their last line of defense is gone. Shugo points to a golden spear, telling Morioka to bring it to him. He has a plan to turn the tables. With a menacing grin, Shugo threatens to make him regret ever coming to this world if he refuses to help. Terrified but motivated, Morioka runs towards the spear, dodging enemy fire as he goes. He grabs the spear, its golden light illuminating the dark room as he prepares to throw it. He throws the spear with all his might, and Shugo easily catches it, ready to execute his plan. Shugo then throws the spear back, but not at the enemy. He aims it directly at Morioka. The spear pierces Morioka's body, and he cries out in pain as he's sent flying back by the powerful blow. Shugo notes that when you die underground, you're sent back to the spawn point, a strange but useful game mechanic. Rubik is annoyed, realizing he barely got any EXP from the kill, and that his opponent chose death over capture. He then orders his men to open fire on the remaining players, eager to see how much EXP he can get from them. Shugo and Yura take cover behind a pillar, the enemy's firepower too strong for them to face head-on. Shugo tells Yura to leave it to him, then throws the golden spear with incredible force. The spear smashes through the wall of the lab, creating a large hole that leads to the outside. He and Yura run towards the newly created exit, ready to make their escape from the ambush. Rubik is furious, demanding to know what they are planning as he watches them flee. Shugo reassures Yura that she won't die easily now that she's gotten stronger, a confident smirk on his face. He then pushes her through the hole, telling her to find him later as he stays behind to face the enemy. Kantaro, meanwhile, is hit by a barrage of bullets, his body riddled with wounds as he's taken down. Rubik tells Shugo he won't kill him, but he'll keep him there as bait to lure Yura back. Shugo smiles, thanking Rubik for giving him the chance to fight back without holding back. Rubik is confused, not understanding what the young player means by his cryptic thanks. He then unleashes a powerful kick, sending Rubik flying back with a single, devastating blow. The captain and his guards are shocked, unable to believe he's still standing after taking so many bullets. Shugo stands tall, a dark aura surrounding him as he glares at his enemies with glowing red eyes. Back at the spawn point, he stands in a peaceful forest, a system window floating beside him. He encounters a wild boar and decides to test out his newfound strength on the unsuspecting creature. He easily dodges the boar's charge, a playful smirk on his face as he prepares to counterattack. With a single, powerful kick, he sends the boar flying into a tree, defeating it with ease. A dark, shadowy figure appears, its body contorting as it lets out a silent scream of agony. The figure grows to a massive size, its shadowy form looming over the unfazed young hero. He feels a surge of power, as if he's just stepped into a hot spring, his body fully recovered and stronger than ever. He grins, amazed by the incredible power coursing through him after his respawn. As long as his body can keep up, his strength, speed, and healing all increase at an incredible rate. He decides to keep this power a secret, a trump card to use when he needs it most. Back in the lab, he tells Rubik it's time to level up, a confident smile on his face. He warns the guards to run if they don't want to die, saying he still feels guilty killing NPCs with human-like feelings. Rubik dismisses his words as empty threats, ordering his men to stand their ground and not back down. The guards obey, opening fire on the lone player who stands before them, unafraid. The young hero wonders why they can't communicate, questioning if all NPCs have a death wish. He moves with blinding speed, a blur of motion as he dodges the incoming bullets with ease. Rubik is stunned, unable to believe his eyes. He frantically looks around, wondering where his target vanished to. Shugo reappears, his fist glowing with power as he prepares to unleash his enhanced strength on the guards. With a single punch, he sends a group of guards flying, their bodies crashing against the walls. He then appears behind another guard, grabbing him before the soldier can even react to his presence. He gives the guard a speed boost, sending him crashing into his comrades with incredible force. The guard's face is a mask of terror, as he's used as a living projectile against his own allies. But just as Shugo is about to continue his assault, a chain wraps around his body, trapping him. Rubik reveals he's already disarmed the traps in the room, confident that he can't destroy the entire room. The young man smirks, casually asking, "Why not?" As if the idea had never occurred to him. A fiery aura erupts from his body as he channels his power, straining against the chains that bind him. Rubik stares in disbelief, unable to comprehend the sheer power his opponent possesses. The young man says he only took down a pervert, but the girl beside him is shocked by this revelation.